Despite the great second half, the Raptors put themselves in a hole that was too big to climb out of, and they end up losing this one in ugly fashion. Let's break it down for you in tonight's post-game show. So the Raptors, favored by 9 going into this game. 10 games left in the season, including tonight. A lot riding on this one. Every game is going to be vital. Raptors have a decently difficult schedule coming up from a strength of schedule standpoint, which is measured on win percentages. But this was one of those where you really got to feel like they should win. At home against the 32-40 Indiana Pacers. You know, I get it. The Raptors don't have Barnes. They don't have Gary Trent. They don't have Achua. In spite of that, they should still win. Even more so when the Indiana Pacers are missing Tyrese Halliburton for this game. But still, the Pacers, every time the Raptors presented a challenge, they had the answers. Every time you threw something at this team, they had the answers. Most specifically, every time you threw something at Andrew Nembhard, Aurora, Ontario native, homecoming game, he had the answer. He was outstanding in this game. And when they needed big shots, they got it from him. They got it from Turner, got it from Hield, got it from McConnell, of all people. And the Raptors just did not have enough. I mean, Poertl, VanVleet, Siakam combined for how many points? 82 points in this one, is it? There's a lot the Raptors threw at the Pacers here with the star men, but not enough from a supporting cast, a depleted supporting cast. But it was a bad first half. It was a bad start to the third. The Raptors made it up really well. Some excellent play by Fred VanVleet for the first 3 quarters. He really dwindled off in the fourth quarter. Siakam was outstanding in the second half. He had 25 second half points after a really rough first half, but just not enough for Toronto. I feel like every time we get into these really close games late, the last 5 minutes, somehow, some way, the Raptors don't find ways to get over the line. These are the games the good teams just find ways to win these games. And so consistently, the Raptors have just not done that this season. So as much as there's always, the glimmer of hope for what this team can be, that excellent game was it Thursday against OKC. Excellent game Saturday against Minnesota. Excellent game against Milwaukee Sunday. Despite the loss, they played really well in that game. That was another one. It comes down to the big possessions late in the game, last 5 minutes, where the Raptors don't get over the line. That's more of the same here. I wouldn't say it was for the lack of ball movement, which has been a problem in a lot of games. The Raptors just go to iso ball late. I don't think that was at all the case today. OG had some good looks. Fred had some good looks. Some of it was Fred, for sure. The shot selection in the fourth quarter was really, really poor. A couple transition threes we didn't need. Kind of killed some momentum. There's one step back three where he was like falling over himself and he still decided to shoot. Excellent 3 quarters, but fourth quarter, we definitely needed a little bit more of a steady Freddie than we got. A bit of a loose cannon in these late games. But let's go to the box score here to break it all down. Siakam, excellent. 11 of 17, 31 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. Guy did everything in the second half for us. Poertl was excellent as well. 10 of 12 with 23 points. Couple of missed free throws late. He was 3 of 9 from the line. That's just something we expect from him. Unfortunately, without Barnes or Trent, you had to close with him. Fred, 7 of 22, 3 of 12. It was efficient after 3, just a lot of bad shots late. Did not have a field goal in the fourth quarter, which was part of what cost us late in this game. 28 points for him, though, 11 assists, 2 steals. Another outstanding stat line for Fred. But certainly, the negative parts of his game really showcased himself in the fourth quarter. The decision making in the first quarter as well. Didn't meet a shot he didn't like today. So part of it was good. The Raptors really struggled in the first half as a whole to generate offense. Really struggled, and he provided a lot of the spark that kept us afloat. But a lot of the excellent parts of his game were here, but a lot of the negative parts today came through. And a lot of those bad habits that we had seen earlier on the season came through, especially late in this game. OG really struggled as well. Maybe something that Fred VanVleet's play in the fourth will mask over, but OG was 2 of 13. He was 1 of 7 from 3. His defense was there. He had 4 steals, but there was so many plays in the fourth where you get it to him and he can't hit his 3. He's another player not exempt from criticism for that. Will Barton was the rounding odds of starting 5 today amidst the injuries, and man, this guy sucked. Will Barton not really providing a compelling case to suggest he should play basketball for this team. Jeff Dowden didn't play much today, mostly because Malachi Flynn played really well today, which we'll touch on in just a second here. But Will Barton's taking away a roster spot from some guys just to not do anything that we haven't already seen this season. He can't hit threes. Like, he just can't hit threes. He had 5 wide open threes today. Wide open threes today and didn't hit. He's been really struggling off the bench. He's been given the task to be the point guard off the bench. Not something he isn't used to, but his defense is bad, and he hasn't been able to hit shots. I was hoping today, back in a role as a starter, which he was for Denver so successfully for such a long period of time, I thought, hey, he's going to have more space than he's had with the Raptors yet, more space to shoot threes. Defensively, he's going to have better defenders around him. He's a fine defender with good players around him. On his own, he's terrible, but with good players to help him, he's fine. But he's got to hit his threes, and he just didn't. And Jeff Dowden, on his 2-way contract, only has so much eligibility for the season. It's knowing that Will Barton is taking that up and not doing us anything. I mean, I don't think you're going to waive Will Barton at this point, but he got yanked. He got yanked very early in the second half. And that's when the Raptors turned the game around. Malachi Flynn came into the game, and I wouldn't say he was the reason they went on a run, but he certainly was helpful. Hit an important three-pointer, had another important three-pointer as well later on in the game. His defense was solid. He was keeping his check in front of him. All you really need from him. Every 1 or 2 months, Malachi Flynn has that game that reminds you, hey, maybe we have something here. And then you see him again later, maybe never mind. But this was that game. Hey, maybe we have something here. Boucher brought some nice energy off the bench, which I liked. Koloko, I thought, was great today. Again, he's providing that much-needed stability to this defense. I kind of want to see him, just whenever Poertl's off, I want to see Koloko in the game right now. He makes a big difference to the bench, who found some success today. Again, some positives coming from the bench. On the Pacers side of things, Nembhard, every time you threw something at him, he had a response, hit the late 3. That was an absolute dagger. 25 points, 10 assists, 11 of 17 from the field. What a game from Nembhard. This kind of had to feel it could have been one of those scrappy games, scrappy wins for the Raptors for a while. But, man, when you outshoot a team 89-77, you really, really ought to be winning that game. But it was such a dismal shooting night from the Raptors. They shot 56 and 52. I remind you, this is the now 33 and 40 Pacers who didn't have Halliburton here, who shot like that. We shot 44 and 21. You're not going to win an NBA game playing like that. It comes down to OG's 1 of 7. Comes down to Fred is 3 of 12. It comes down to Barton's 0 of 5, right? The guys you need to make shots didn't make their shots today. Rebounding wise, you kept it close there. Some offensive rebounds played in our favor, especially for Poertl. But even with 21 turnovers by the Pacers to our 8, we had 3 from, 4 from the first quarter onwards. Still not enough. And when all of those hustle stats are in your favor and you still lose, you probably had a really bad game. So, very, very, very unfortunate for how that was bad, for how bad that was, considering the importance of this game. Thankfully, the Bulls are losing by 400 points to the 76ers right now. Thankfully, the Wizards lost today. But it looks like the Hawks might be able to pull out a win. By the time this comes out, we'll know what the situation is with the Atlanta Hawks. At the time of recording, they are up by 6 with 6 minutes to go, so we'll assume that's a win. Yeah, it puts you in a tough spot. It really does put you in a tough spot. And the Raptors are allergic to 500, man. They just can't climb their way up to that point. But with the games ahead, a homestand has just begun. I mean, this was a winnable game. So is this. You should be beating the Pistons and the Wizards. Tough game against the Heat. Really tough game against Sixers. But then 2 more winnable games against the Hornets. And then you have the Celtics twice and Bucks. Looks tough, but maybe they're locked up in their seeding. Maybe they rest guys. It's on the Raptors to get their wins here. They play like they did today. They're going to struggle to have any sort of quality of making the playoffs. So, really tough game by Toronto. Really tough game. We need to bounce back on Friday. And I hope to see you there on all the Amateur content. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like button. Subscribe for more Raptors content just like this.